Welcome back. Millennials, the generation now in their 20s and 30s, live much differently than their parents did. A recent article showcased some of the biggest differences, including how marriage rates have freefalled. From 1970 to 2012, the U.S. marriage rate dropped 60%.
When it comes to spending, millennials are slower to own homes than previous generations and much more inclined to live in bigger, more expensive cities.
But what do you think? We reached out to you on Facebook asking, what are the biggest differences between millennials and baby boomers? Sharon G said, boomers have better work ethic. Millennials are entitled. Sonia J wrote, huge benefits with both. And Spencer C said, the years they were born. Here's Joe and George with their take.
So Joe, as we've aged, would you want to be born in today?
Absolutely not. I just feel better with the way things used to be. It's moving too fast, number one, and the whole outlook of life is changed so much. I think our values, whatever. Of course, I came from a different place, so that's one reason why I'm more comfortable there.
It is amazing how fast time has flown and how things have changed, especially with the technology world going, that it is overwhelming. There are so many different technological tools to use that I don't know how anybody can possibly keep up with them.
It's true, and I think at our age group, we kind of have a little bit of resistance to this, whereas the younger person doesn't. But we all have that, I think. We like to be comfortable. We've got to a certain age where we felt comfortable, and we want to stay that way.
And there's a lot to be said about being in your comfort zone. And I think with all the things that are happening throughout our lives, you kind of look back in an earlier time when it was one car in the family. It wasn't 5 or 6 different cars. It was a 900 square foot home, and life was very simple and it was very comfortable then.
Exactly. I think that's part of we think back, we find ourselves wishing we were back there. And of course, can't go back. We have to go forward. That's just the way life is. So yes, you're right. I guess you just have to find ways of holding on to some of the things that made you feel good and continue with it.
I know I'd like to see my grandchildren experience what it was like when I was a child. And it's the neighborhood where you grow up, and you had the little neighborhood market right around the corner, and you walked or rode your bike to school, and there was no big pickup lines at school for all the kids being dropped off. That you just got there. Funny is when you are young, you feel safe in that little neighborhood, and you grow up and go out in the big world. Things change no matter who you are.
Right.
So one of the issues about millennials and boomers is it was not easy for us to buy a house when we got our first house, but for millennials, it's even more difficult now for them to be able to purchase a house.
Right, because prices are so out of reach, we can't even imagine. My first house cost $10,400, and it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house.
Well, you know, with the stresses of being a millennial in today's times, the marriage rates have even fallen even faster, and I believe we're at about 60% chance of failure now.
Right, and people are not getting married. They're living together, sharing expenses because they have to, because they can't afford, one person cannot afford a home.
And you're starting to see too that a lot of boomers are moving in with their millennial family just to save costs like that, because of the cost of senior care or others becomes a little out of reach, so everybody starts to move in together.
Well, it's true. I guess we have to look at it in a different way and try to be positive as much as possible, because of a lot of the positive things, the things we have now that we didn't have then.
Correct.
That we had to work so hard to get.
So now we just work as a family, everybody works together,
Yep.
and we'll get through all this.